Everybody, it's Marty the JavaScript Party and my buddy Rhett. We just finished up our voice API video. That is really a neat technology. I'm getting pretty close, I think, relatively close, I guess is the right better word, to getting to just start working on actual applications using that technology as opposed to just building out the web analyzer. I definitely feel like I understand the technology so much better than when I first tried to use it. Some technologies you can just kind of pick up and use, and they're very utilitarian like that, and you don't really need to understand them. They just work. Other technologies have a lot of subtleties and weirdnesses to them, and that is one that is like that. And I think it's just because it's probably in massive flux at the point. It's like a very slow, obvious change. Like it's not going to work the way it is. It's just not a. It's just not a. Doesn't have legs. But it could be going for decades, honestly, for decades before it gets straightened out, but it will eventually get straightened out. Not sure when or why or what the motivation will be, but it will be changed. It will be updated. But yeah, so I'm here in Marietta, Georgia. It is 79 degrees outside. It is 10:38 a.m. on a Sunday. Sunday. Now, this next upcoming week here in the United States is a short work week. So for some people, that's like a really good thing. Like they're like, "Yay, I get a short work week." For other people like me, I'm a contractor, so that just means one less day of pay on my next paycheck, which is a bummer. But it could definitely be a heck of a lot worse. It's one of those things where it's just like, man, you could see so many things that could be better, but like so many things could be so much worse that you almost feel bad complaining. Um, that it's just a tough situation. But it definitely is like a not a horribly negative situation. But it's like, oh, things could be better. I don't know exactly how to put it. But anyway, so I think that I have it basically feature complete for this next milestone, which the next milestone was in the CRUD concept to be able to add, which we've had add working for a long time, and then to be able to come in and delete. And this is I'm at that state, that phase. I'm sure everybody's been in here where I'm actually afraid to do anything because my confidence level of how if there's bugs and stuff is very low. I think that there's still a lot of bugs in here. Um, so it's just like every time I'm just sort of afraid to do anything because it's just like, oh man, am I going to make a bug, or am I going to find a bug that I have to kind of detour and work on? But I believe everything seems to be working. And what I would like to do is like the delete was way more like damaging, structurally damaging to my architecture than I had thought it would be. Um, and so as I feel like I've got all the pieces in, uh, that I need done, but I don't think that I have the but I think that there's still some bugs in there. Um, so and I would rather sort of do the unit tests because I think what the unit tests are going to do, and this is the first project I've ever done on my own where I'm doing unit tests and I'm doing 100% unit test coverage. But I think what happens is the unit test is sort of a structurally healing practice. So, like, in order to build out for unit tests to work, you kind of have to write code in a certain way. And then when you're writing the unit tests, many times it becomes very obvious that some functionality somewhere where it really shouldn't be. But honestly, none of that works if you don't care. So if all you're doing is like you work in a place and they say, hey, we so that we can for whatever reason, contractually, we've committed to having 80% unit tests. You don't care. You just want to do whatever you need to do to get to 80%. Um, but I actually care because now I'm starting to kind of see what some of the benefits of the unit tests are. So, and honestly, like probably anytime I ever, now that I know what I'm looking for, I'll probably always, if I do unit tests, sort of be looking out for the things that I'm learning. And that is kind of the point to all this stuff. But so the unit test process is a bit of a trial by fire sort of character building experience. And the very first step of the unit test in the process that is sort of evolved is that I run npm run test. And what this will do is this will run all my existing unit tests, and it'll point out any things, unit tests that I have that are broken. Now, to be clear, I only, all my unit tests are only my whole bias in the unit testing is just to get to 100% code coverage. I'm not worried about like the spirit of the unit tests. Um, and I do know that, and the other thing I know is I don't want console logs. So let's go ahead and get rid of all our console logs that if we see them um, before I start the unit test. So that's all I see. Oh, okay, so this code altogether probably should just go away. So this is just code that I wrote because when you create while loops, there's a 90, in my opinion, there's almost 100% chance that you're going to at some point create an infinite loop, and it can be a real pain in the butt to get out of infinite loops. So whenever I do a while loop, which is literally once every 3 or 4 years, I always add this during the development time. This found escape concept, which is like, hey, I know that I should never get to 1,000. It should never loop 1,000 times before it finds where a new visualization is. So break me out and throw up an alert if anything is found. So current row, we definitely do that. Okay. So let's just make sure nothing broke. Okay. Now, npm run test. Our unit test should pop up. And I'm guessing some of them will be broken because I think entire chunks of code were moved. And that's where, like, when I was in the sort of the fog of war, I was just moving stuff just to get it working. And I was just too deep in the weeds to like think about things from like a high up architectural perspective. So that's kind of like the one of the anxieties I have around this unit testing is that it's going to that I'm going to discover that, oh, I need to do like a massive refactor, but right off the bat it couldn't compile or transpile, and it's upset because we don't get visualization IDs. And if I remember correctly, we just got rid of that whole concept because it wasn't being used anywhere. The whole, we were, basically what we had was like we had an array of IDs and then the array of visualizations. And that was just going to be a lot of extra overhead. And see, the whole IDs concept is gone now. So let's just go ahead and get rid of the test. I don't remember why I even did that with the IDs to begin with. But I don't know if this is new or if this is an existing problem. Looks like there was another place where we did visualization IDs. What is this one? Debug should create a new visualization. Okay, so basically we just want instead of the ID array to be greater than 0, we want the actual visualizations array to be greater than 0. So hit save, see what we get next. So it says it's still, so it feels like maybe this one is broken. So, okay, so I don't, it feels like maybe it's just not restarting. All right, let's see, what does it say? Did you mean get visualizations? See, like I think I just went here, right? So in this expectation on line 103, in this unit test, it's saying that I'm trying to get visualization IDs. That is 103. Now, yeah, so that isn't correct. So I think I need to kill this and restart it. So I would say in my life, 90% of the time I've ever been working on unit tests, I've been under some sort of duress. Um, so I think what I'm doing is like I'm sort of rebalancing my brain's sort of um, feelings about unit tests. Here we go. Edit visualizations doesn't exist. Okay. It's kind of hard to get to the very first one. So it looks like animation service spec 92 set position. And it's saying that this an argument for the index wasn't provided. So go to definition. Okay, so this is now looking for an index and I have no idea why I misspelled vises. And it doesn't, oh, I guess, yeah, so, and it doesn't look like it even uses the index. All right, so let's go ahead and get rid of that for now. That feels like it might be a mistake. But right here, it looks like all we do is use our visualization and update it. So whatever reason, whatever change happened there, that doesn't feel good. Doesn't feel like a good thing. And I guess we'll work our way up. Let's see. So we are trying to go now to add viz does not exist on UI service. So over here, so this whole viz in the UI service. Oh yeah, remember when we got rid of everything, a ton of stuff in UI service, because it was just like I don't even know what this does. Nothing was using it, and then we ended up reusing it to. Well, maybe not. I was thinking we reused it to figure out whether we were to set whether we were in this mode or not, in redraw mode or not, the reflow mode or not. But no, I don't see that in here. Maybe it was just a name change. So this is one where if it wasn't like, oh man, I'm doing 100% coverage on everything, I would be like, ooh, I'm afraid to not spend more time investigating what the heck just happened here. But since I know I'm gonna require 100%, I know that there's gonna be a time where I come back and start trying to understand why I don't have 100% coverage. So whatever that logic was is probably gone now. So UI service spec line 21. So it's not redrawing for some reason. And I think if we actually make a change in here, it may. Let's see. Let's get rid of this. No, it doesn't seem to be. And I would say I'm definitely like I like doing I've always liked doing unit tests because it's just like I like programming computers. So and I like it I think because it's kind of like a puzzle and stuff. And and then unit tests are just more of the puzzle. So it's like wow, I'm getting paid just to do the puzzle, but it can be really stressful. Okay, so should edit the visualization. So, and then this one has the same thing. Now, oh, app model service. That's where we just sort of wiped everything out. So this one is what I was thinking that other thing was. But, and yeah, we don't have any tests for that other new stuff. And this was all the changes around this were like, cause yeah, we didn't want this anymore and we wanted this. So we commented all this stuff out and it was because we were getting we're getting like a weird uh, bug where whenever we inject the visualization service into this app model service. So I don't really understand that bug, but it's only a runtime bug. It never happens during compile time. So the compiler can't see whatever it is, but so let's do that. I have such mixed feelings about the constructor. Like it doesn't hurt anything to be there, but I guess there are some like in some static analysis in some organizations, lines of code that are actually down there are extremely important. And if that constructor is just there, then that's just some more lines of code. And if if you can have fewer lines of code, then that's less to maintain. And maintenance from their perspective is probably different than maintenance from our perspective. Okay, so it's upset about edit vision. See, this is not. It's saying on line 35 there should be an edit, and there isn't. Oh, and there isn't, but I never saved it. Ooh, looks like we've got it. We got it to compile. That's step one. So step one used to be just get them all passing, but now step one is get them to compile. Okay, we have one failed test. That's this guy here. You put your mouse over it, I think. I don't know. So right here, they actually have the name of it, and they say it's on line 20. It's visualization service spec.ts. What line is it? Line 70, or maybe line 27. I think that's line 70, column 27. I don't know what this 27 is because this one's 28, this one's 39, 34. But anyway, so, and it is interesting that Zone.js is what called it because I was trying to make this a zoneless application, but clearly it is not. So line 70 of this file. Okay, so does it tell me what it got? Oh, expected 0 to equal 200. So this function is not working anymore because the top, so apparently I used to send it and is too wide, which is probably set to true, I would think. Yeah, so set to true is too wide apparently is a function, is a variable, is a array. Oh, it's a function. Okay, it's a function that always returns true in this case, and then it shouldn't matter. And then whenever it gets calculated, if is too wide is too wide, at least it used to work. um, that way. So this, I'm just going to comment this out for now. This, and I'm assuming that this will sort itself out when we when we start trying to do the 100%. Um, I think that's a very good assumption. All right, so we have all the unit tests passing now. I mean, we kind of cheated a little bit because um, like, clearly, whatever this used to do is not happening anymore. I think, and then a couple things back, I just deleted some functions that, well, it didn't seem like they should just be deleted, so that seemed like a bad thing. But I think all of that will work itself out. Um, but I think what I need to do next is go into my code coverage and get the index, drag it over here. And as you can see, we've lost massive amounts of code coverage on that. We have our statements. We have 500 statements and only 457 of them are covered. We have 67 branches and only 55 are covered. We have 133 functions and only 121 are covered. And then we have 3 lines less than statements. I'm always curious about that. I think I mentioned it all the time that I'm always very, very curious about that. But every time I figure out what the difference is, I'm always shockingly disappointed. So this layout is not great, but looks like the first 2 are good. It looks like our first problem is in app menu. So that'll be the first thing we look at. We click in here. So this one has 0% of all the branches are covered, 78% of all the statements. So there's 4 statements that are uncovered, and there's 4 lines. So this one has the same number of lines as statements. So we come in here and we say basically toggle reflow never gets called. So that will be a good thing to do tomorrow. This video is a little short, especially for a weekend, but I feel like this is such a good place to stop and to kind of think, let my brain sort of consider what's going on with the things. It'll be shocking. Like, I'll probably sometime throughout today, maybe during lunch or something like that, I'll suddenly go like, oh, wait, I shouldn't have deleted that. Or, oh, okay, that's what that is. Or whatever, all kinds of stuff are going to, it just sort of percolates in my brain with the time. But tomorrow, I definitely plan to write the unit test for this toggle reflow. It should be simple. I definitely want to see if I can see. So it doesn't return anything. That's probably a mistake. I probably should pass in the reflow instead of using the this. I don't know how toggle reflow gets called. It probably gets called. It looks like it probably gets called from the template. So in the template, I'm going to see if I can update it to pass in what the reflow is. So I don't, well, yeah, so I don't have to read the state. I think it's okay to actually call this. But see, I like how I did that for app model. I made it to where it gets called in, it gets passed in, so it doesn't have to care. Maybe it doesn't even have access to that, but it would be nice if this one was also sort of not dependent on the state to figure out what it's supposed to do. I think it's okay for it to update the state, like with this. Although it is a bit weird. This code is a bit weird, and I didn't notice it at the time, I don't think, or maybe I did notice at the time and I was just like, no, this will get caught during the unit test part of this application. So I'm starting to actually get dependent on unit tests because I don't think I would normally, unless I just didn't catch it, like didn't notice it, I don't think I would ever write code like this if I didn't know that there was like another thing. But I guess I kind of like it. It almost is like a unit test in and of itself. It unit tests this set reflow function. Um, and I just don't even know what I think of that. I think that's a good thing, actually. But I do want to pass in whatever the reflow is, um, so that it's, and honestly, just so it's a lot easier to get 100% coverage. So that is that. That one should be a really nice, easy start of the day tomorrow, which is what I need on Monday. Next Friday is 4th of July, so I don't know what we're going to do. With 4th of July, it's kind of funny because, with our holidays, most of our holidays, I think Easter's the only one that doesn't sort of move around um, on the calendar. So, like, we have like different contexts of like what is a Friday 4th of July like as opposed to a Saturday 4th of July as opposed to a Sunday 4th of July, right? Like, so if you're going to have a 4th of July on Friday, there's a lot of good things about a 4th of July on Friday because you got the next day off, you get a 3-day weekend, um, and that's pretty cool. And then if you get like a Saturday 4th of July, it's kind of okay because you got the next day off still. And typically you'll get either Friday or Monday off. Typically, I think it'll be Monday off. So, that's pretty cool too. That's actually probably even better because you had all day. The one thing that's kind of stinks about Saturday, 4th of July, is a lot of times you end up out in the heat all day before the 4th of July. So then you got your Sunday, 4th of July. You normally have Monday off. So that works pretty good because, you can have fun, stay up late on 4th of July, and then get up early. But um, Monday, 4th of July's are tricky because that's usually your day off that you got. So you have to come into the work next day and you get like dehydrated. You're up all day. You're usually outside all day and all that. And then Tuesday, 4th of July's are weird because normally what will happen is a lot of people will have Tuesday off, but they had to go to work on Monday. Then a lot of people will strategically set up their vacation to be on Monday, so then they get like for one day they get 4 days off in a row. So that is an interesting one. And basically the point is that like the experience of the holiday is very, very, very intersected with the day of the week that the holiday falls on. And almost all our holidays are like that, except for Easter. And Easter is always really tricky because it has something to do with the solar solstice, I think, or maybe I don't know. It has something to do with the full moon and stuff like that. There's a lot of stuff and it's the only holiday we have that's like that. So, anyways, I'll see you all tomorrow morning. Have a great Sunday, and bye.